Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of Plainview, back by popular demand. Nick's wife loved it, so we're going to continue on our to support our one viewer. This week we are going to mainly talk about the Auburn and Baylor matchup. This is, I mean, obviously one of the most anticipated games of the season, just to see where Auburn stands after the first week, and see what they've been working on. But also, too, I would say it's a pretty special game just because we really don't know what to expect. You know,
It
we,
determines my mood.
yeah, it's like we don't really know. Like, we've had high expectations with Q Freeze, right? And everything so far under his control and his regime at Auburn has kind of been lackluster. I saw a stat the other day talking about how Auburn has not had a winning season since I think 2020, 2019, something like that.
Mhm.
So I think this year is being looked forward to a little bit more than usual just to get an idea again of where is this season going to go. You know, they're not starting off with an Alabama A&M. They're not starting off with a uh, Mercer or
Yeah.
anything like that. You know, they're playing a Big 12, um, potentially, Big 12 championship contender from some of the reports we're reading, right? So, I think this is, what's your guys' thoughts on this week one for Auburn?
Well, I think it's a culture thing. When you Google Auburn, basketball comes up. It's
Yeah.
it's not football anymore. So I think this can really swing whichever way we go.
Yeah.
I think, defensively, number one, uh, I think it's a game to see who you got, in the sense of who's going to play, who's going to fold. Um, you're going to get to look at a lot of your freshmen.
Hmm.
Um, and then offensively, again, is all of the confidence and all of the kind of hype surrounding practice, spring, summer, is it about to translate? Are we about to kind of see what's been promised, or is this about to take basically take everybody down the same road as the last couple of years again?
Yeah. So, looking at like kind of previewing the game right here, we talked about Auburn a lot last week just in terms of returning favorites and guys that got in the transfer portal and those bright spots. So, excuse my Ranger medication alarms. But we talked about like Auburn and what to expect, right? Um, Nick, I know you and I have talked about it. You're expecting a pretty heavy pass load from Auburn this year, correct?
Yeah. Between Derek Nix and Ken Austin with their play calls, I think the runs will be the RPOs. I mean, when you have a Jarquez Hunter and he only gets 15 to 18 carries a game,
Hmm.
like, well, he should be getting in reality like 25 a
Yeah,
game.
at
But
least.
now we're swapping to, you know, Damari Alston, which is not a knock to him, or, Jeremiah Cobb. It's more so like, well, we've got a running back by committee now. And
Hmm.
so it's more so, okay, let's split these guys up to 12 carries and so on and so forth. Whereas, okay, hey, Jackson, I need, 15 dump off passes or, 0 to 3 yard passes. That's going to be more of an extension of the run game, but it's truly passes. And then again, we're doing 5 to 7 bombs. We're doing 10 to 15 medium throws. So I think it's just going to be a little bit more passing oriented based on the personnel and the offensive line that Auburn has. I think that's the big tell of like, all right, guys, like we can actually sit here and pass, and we don't have to set anything else up. by doing it. It's just because of the offense that they've recruited.
Yeah. Or go ahead, Garrett.
I agree. But at the same time, I do feel like you're still going to get a little bit of what you got last year, in the sense of you're just looking to get guys in space. I mean, you've got guys that are quick. You've got a QB that can run, similar to Peyton Thorne last year. I mean, you now have a committee system, so you have a little bit different tendencies for guys, and I I honestly kind of wish they'd go back to like a solid RPO system, because you have guys everywhere. Your QB's a threat, your running back's a threat. All 4 or 5 of your wide receivers are threats, and then between an offensive line like that, I mean, it's basically what weakness can we exploit this week?
Yeah. Well, and like I said, we talked about what Auburn like last week, like the bright spots. Where do you guys see Auburn maybe faltering at? Where's a potential hole? I know we talked so positively last week about it, but like where's the potential hole at?
If the offense starts sputtering,
Yeah, I would agree.
uh, I think people, I mean, we've seen some reaction around camp and what's
Mhm.
happening at camp, and everybody's so quick, like, oh, Jackson Arnold's losing confidence because the defense is da 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 da. Everybody's so quick to jump to a conclusion, and I think as soon as you know, oh, you won the game by a touchdown and we weren't satisfied, fire the guy, get him out, and it's like it's game one. You know,
Yeah,
we are one game in.
The best way to call like this early part of the season is fragile,
Yeah,
because the expectations are so high. But also, I mean, Hugh knows that if things go south quickly, it's his head, it's his job, his livelihood. And so I think, if, like you said, if things start to go downhill, I think he's going to make quick, rash coaching decisions that can bite Auburn in the ass.
yeah,
Whether it's, oh, Jackson Arnold has, he throws a bad pick. All right, sit him.
yeah. Well, and that kind of leads into the whole like scapegoat rumors too. We saw the report come out about play calling and how like somebody's calling a play for first down, Hughes calling it for second, somebody else calling for third, so on and so forth, right?
Well, they
Um,
did. They did clarify.
yeah,
It's not like true. Three coaches have three different.
yeah,
It's more like, okay, Kent is the quarterback coach, and he is going to more so determine the schematics for third down, where Derek Nix should have most of the play calling
hmm
first through third, and then it's Kent's scheme that he gives Derek Nix, for the third down options, and then
hmm
Hugh has the point at any point as the head coach to intervene with anything that he likes to see or doesn't.
yeah. And there had to be more truth behind that. But the same, like, or I guess more detail, not more truth, but more detail. But kind of like where I was getting at is there was the whole like, oh, he's going to scapegoat somebody rumors, but I mean, I everybody kind of knows, even Hugh, like you said, like his head is kind of on the pike if this goes wrong this season. So I don't think there can be much scapegoating. I don't think the Auburn fan base and the athletic director or just the athletics department is going to allow for a lot of scapegoating from Hugh Freeze because like okay, we're going into year 3 now, right? And like these are your guys. These are the guys you got from transfer and the guys you recruited. Like we're now starting to see juniors that you recruited. So
right.
this is it. So there's nobody but you to blame here if it does go sour. Um,
I feel like where Billy Napier was a year ago
Yeah.
before Lagway bust onto the scene.
Yeah, his saving grace.
Before there were a couple of slide out victories. It's hot. It's hot.
I think Auburn, or I think you can survive an 8-5 season, but it has to look like how Florida did, like beat a couple big names,
Yeah.
and have something that trends them in the right direction. If they start out 5-0 and then finish 7-5, Hugh's gone. If they start out 1-2, or even, or well, 1-2, it's a short leash.
Incoming
But
South Alabama.
yeah, yeah. I mean, true. So if they're 2-2 and then finish the season 9-3, they're fine. But if it's the opposite way, it's like, oh, we start 5-0 again and go from there for a 7-5, then that's they have to trend in the right direction. That's my point that I'm
For
making.
sure. It's almost like what I've said about baseball. It's you got to get hot at the right time.
Yeah,
That's essentially what needs to happen, or they can stay hot the entire season, hopefully.
because I mean, Billy Napier at the end of the day is still on the hot seat. I mean, I
Oh
know
yeah,
we're not getting over there, um, but I mean, again, if he has one bad season, he's gone, and so that's the thing where it would really help if Auburn, some of these off-season analysts have been saying like dark horse, playoff contention. Like, look, I just want to win a bowl game at this point. Like, I will take that. But if you were in those talks, and it's like if Auburn pulls an Ole Miss and like, man, we should have been in. We were in the talks. If we were in the talks, fine by me. Let
yeah,
baby steps. Last year I think Auburn took a step in the right direction, even though the record got worse because the
Didn't quite
offense,
show it right.
yeah, it doesn't tell the whole story. But I think just from there, though, the offense got better, the defense certainly got better, and now these guys are getting experience. So I just think there's a lot that holds on the line here.
yeah. Uh, Kind of like you said, we're not looking for like lightning in a bottle. Like it's the baby steps, right? Um, well, switching gears real quick. Talking about Baylor, I was looking through their roster, and like first off, the first guy I want to talk about from Baylor, potentially being like a key in this game is their running back, Bryson Washington. So just looking at his stats from last year, I mean, he was a 1,000 yard rusher last year off of 175 carries. He was averaging 6 yards a carry, and had 12 touchdowns. So, like, I know we talked about like the depth of the front seven and uh, having a strong front seven and the DJ Durkin defense, but I think this is going to be a good sign or signal of how, specifically against the run, Auburn's going to do this year.
Well, you were talking about weaknesses, and obviously Auburn's defense should be a strength.
Mm-hmm.
However, if there is a chink in that armor, it's going to be linebackers. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
Demarcus Riddick, which is great, true sophomore. But besides that, it's a young, very very young group. That's again, they're a bunch of 4 and 5 stars. That's great, but is it going to translate? Because you lost Eugene Asante and Dorian Massey, so losing those two pieces who are now on NFL teams, it, it's tough. So it's going to really see who clogs those lanes. The D line should get push, and so Bryson Washington also, because Baylor runs a similar air raid to like Ole Miss.
I was just about to say
Because
that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was just about to
it's
say that.
not it's
How about
not
y'all kiss?
your it's not your typical like, hey, I'm just going to throw it 8-9 times and slip a run in every now and then. It's schematically done where your running back should be able to average high amounts of, again, your 6-7 yards of carry. But losing Pendergrass, was a shot into the knee,
Yeah.
for Baylor, their backup, because he was another averaging close to 6 yards for 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. But he was that rotational piece because Baylor averaged 178 rush yards a game, and for an air raid offense, that's high. So it's
Unless you're Wisconsin.
yeah, no.
I think the great thing about their offense is that while it does kind of have a tendency towards the Ole Miss style, is that at the end of the day, you're really using one side of the offense to get to the other side. And I think Washington has benefited from that, in that if we can get him going, then that opens up everything else. Where Ole Miss kind of uses it the opposite. So they like to use the pass to open up their run. And it really, if you boil their offense down, they're really just a zone, a gap scheme run. But they just throw so much, and they throw a lot of screen passes, a lot of quick passes, that it spreads the defense out super wide. And then, all right, now we're running downhill. And from what I saw, like at the LSU game, like with Baylor, it was kind of what they did. They got this receiver, number 34. I just can't remember his name right now. But they threw him. Josh Cameron, thank you. They threw him like nobody's business. I mean, if the matchup was there, Robertson was throwing it. But at the end, as soon as they hit the red zone, though, hey, we're handed.
Well, also too, just speaking of their receivers, I just realized that they in their slot is Kobe Prentice, who transferred from Alabama this past year. So that's their starting slot receiver. And then Ashton Hawkins being the other receiver. But I do want to touch on Sawyer Robertson. That's another, like, just again looking at his stats from last year. 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 62.2% completion percentage for an air raid team, not bad. So he also had 230 yards. So he's not really running that much, right? I mean, he's sitting back in the pocket and trying to throw the ball. So I guess, to sum everything up of what we just talked about, their offense specifically, it's going to be high octane. It's like they're going to try to, they're not going to try to play defense. They're going to try to outscore you, with their running back core and their weapons that they have.
I mean, they're averaging last year. They're averaging 441 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that puts them at 14 in the country. And then scoring 33 and a half
mm-hmm.
per game at 18 in the country. I mean, they are used to scoring.
Yeah.
And getting a lot of yards out of it. Which is going to be so exciting, is that if Auburn can go in and let's cut it in half, keep them 15, 21 points, I think you can walk out of that feeling confident.
Well, I'll go the flip side. Baylor's defense allowed 380 yards a game and allowed 27 a game. So I think, and they're like leading pick leader was like 3. They don't get too many takeaways, and that's where the offense has to move up. So if Auburn's able to get them to 20, 21, 24, Auburn's got a good shot on average. And I think that this game is unique because, like we said earlier and on the last episode, I'm glad that Auburn's not getting an Alabama A&M. But this matchup is favorable for what Auburn's question marks are, because Auburn's defense is a pretty known, good defense, but their offense has a lot of question marks. Well, they're going up against a fairly bad defense. So it's like, okay, get your tweaks out of the way, get, you have room where it's not like, oh, we're going up, against an Oregon or, a Georgia. Like, it's not like, okay, like,
right.
Hey, we got to be perfect.
Yeah.
There's room for error against Baylor and still win. They're just, again, the defense will have to make some stops, and the offense has to show that they are ready to be under command by Jackson Arnold. Because as much as I would love to play the idea of a Deuce Knight coming in to save the season, if Deuce Knight has to come in and play, then Hughes' tenure is basically a failure. Because I mean, if everything has been put up this offseason on how Jackson can lead this offense,
Mm-hmm.
and if he can't, then it's like, okay, well, one hand, how do you any of the players have trust in you?
Yeah.
To I don't know. Recruiting takes a hit,
Well,
and
well,
then you
well,
uh,
yeah, and kind of ping ponging off that, more than likely, week to week, Monday through Friday, Arnold is probably seeing the hardest defense he will play all year. Just, I mean, that's a probably, to me at least. I mean, even last year, I mean, Auburn had 11 solid guys. You lose a couple, you return a lot. So, I mean, week in and week out practice, one-on-one, like first team O, first team D. I mean, you're seeing the best that the country has to offer.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think that's going to play out later on in that, okay, his first 6 months there, oh, his confidence is hit. Well, it's like, well, yeah, well, I think anybody would be.
go from Oklahoma to. Well, I mean, Oklahoma did have a decent defense.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
had a decent defense
they
last
had a
year.
They
decent
did.
defense.
But from what we're hearing about Auburn's defense, it's going to be nasty.
Well, to
Yeah.
have a
And
dominant secondary, I mean, how many? How really? What sets your good defenses or your great defenses apart from good defenses is, if you've got four, if you're top four, your back four are, you know, they're coming up, setting edges, they're getting, PBUs. I think that's what really sets apart, because every school can produce a solid front seven realistically. They may not be able to stack them up in 1 year, but it's not that hard to get a good solid front seven. But to get
well,
a
Yeah.
good solid four corners and safeties, that's a little tougher.
Uh, yeah. I mean, two. So two things from my side, right? Um, Number one, if Baylor's going to score a majority of their points in the first quarter or first half.
Yeah.
Just like I think it's going to be very similar to how a majority of the games were last year, where Auburn allowed those points in the first half, made adjustments at halftime, and then several times last year played shutout or one possession scoring defense the rest of the game. Number one. And number two, I want to refer back to what Nick was talking about. You know, potentially losing to Baylor, and getting your tweaks out of the way against for a winnable game where you don't have to play perfect. The thing is, at the day and age of college football we're in now, you can lose the first game of the season, but still make the college football playoffs. I'm not saying Auburn's going there this year. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I'm not saying Auburn's going there this year, but if the measurement of success is being one of the top 12 teams in the country, then being able to lose your first game against a tough opponent such as
Mm-hmm.
Baylor gives you an opportunity to make it on down the road. I mean, again, two losses will get you in the playoff. I mean, hell, potentially even three. Depending on
Depending on.
the shadow council's decision.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if they end up losing, I mean, but they at least make the tweaks, and you can see some kind of resilience and piecing back together, and they just don't disintegrate in the fourth quarter or in the second half. I mean, you got to count that as somewhat of a win, especially this season.
Well, I think we've all seen the videos too. I mean, the culture is there, the attitude is there. That Netflix series that came out, a couple weeks ago. A lot of the videos that they showed, was talking kind of about like, hey, this year is not the way that it's supposed to go, but the seniors have really just rallied around if this is what it takes for us to be the cornerstone, so that these younger guys can persevere, know what it looks like to persevere and go on and do whatever, then so be it. That's our lot, and we'll go on with it. So it's not like it's an FSU situation last year where it's, um, oh, we've brought in a lot of talent, like we're going to be really good, and then it's not, and then
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, this was a major disappointment. How are we 2-10? Um, I, I think it's more of we've just got to make a lot of different people kind of work together a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the players have bought in.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like again, with this game being so momentous, kind of again piggybacking on my last point, like I think Auburn will see some. I think they will see some hiccups early. The best way that I can describe and probably predict this game would be Bo Nix's freshman year against Oregon. Like new quarterback. That was when Auburn played Oregon. Um, and it was a last second touchdown. I think it's going to go similar to that, where
Mhm.
it'll probably be more. The score will probably be in the 20s, but from there, that's kind of what we'll see, and it'll be a close game. But I think Auburn will get one stop just enough to win it.
Yeah. Well, just talking on predictions here. Um, I think Auburn's going to drop it. I think it's going to be a one possession game. I think it's going to be like 4 points.
I hate you.
But yeah, I just me personally, I just think I think there's going to be a moment like a final possession or a final 3 minutes where they have something and they just
I can feel my blood pressure
yeah.
right now rising, and
Well,
just and
it wouldn't
Peyton
be Auburn foot
Thorne
it wouldn't be
has
Auburn football without
damaged me
heartbreak.
worse than a toxic ex. Like Peyton Thorne has wrenched his claws into my heart.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I think the fan
And
base
that
is
does it for
so.
Plainview Podcast. I'm done. I'm
I
done.
think the fan base itself is so desperate to get back that, I mean, it's like, oh, we're gonna,
Yeah.
I mean, the hype train is full steam ahead, and I think people and hardcore fans especially are setting the expectations at, you know,
To the moon.
to the moon, and inevitably it is going to come crashing down at some point. Um, and I think if it were to happen, week one, week one is that week.
Let's set the standard.
Well, if you really look at it, Todd has been working out with Steph Curry's trainer and getting some of these recruits in. Like I'm just excited, but no, like I think Auburn will survive if they lose, um, because again they'll have time to fix it. But again, if they if they lose, Oklahoma is going to be a tough game for. It's like I think Auburn will lose. Well, Auburn week 4 and they have a brutal stretch. I'm not
They
gonna
do.
lie,
They do.
and it's early, so thankfully it's only early. But it's away at Oklahoma, then away at Texas A&M, and then they have Georgia. That three, if they lose to Baylor, they're going to drop at least one between Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Georgia. If they win them all, then we're this is 2017 Auburn, like we're going to the promised land. But if they will drop one of those, and if they drop Baylor, then you're looking at 2-3 losses, and that's where again, like I get that Auburn can survive that, Hugh can survive that.
Yeah.
But again, that's just back to my Florida take of okay, you have to finish the season strong because the first part is brutal.
Yeah. And to my point, it's when I say I think they're gonna lose, I think it's gonna be one of those things where they they're gonna be able to correct the mistakes they make to, have more success down the season. I literally think it's just gonna come down to a few mistakes that like Auburn just makes a few more mistakes than Baylor does. Essentially that's all it's gonna be. I think Aranda at Baylor kind of has a little bit of a better hold and is seen better in the eye of the public in the athletic department at Baylor than Hugh Freeze is um, at Auburn. So I think he's not going to go to a rash decision that's going to lead to a mistake. I'll kind of put it that way.
Oh yeah, I mean Aranda has again going back to your baseball reference, it's peaking at the right time, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Baylor has played some of their best football since the days of RG3, and I think for Hugh Freeze, it's kind of been a situation of over promising and under delivering. Um, I mean, your first 2 years were rough, uh, and so you're kind of hitting that. I mean, yes, he'll survive for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, you take 3 losses, that's much better than 5-7 of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure, we'll give you that. But I mean, yeah, Aranda is. Oh, you took a very talented Auburn team down to the wire, and you're probably going to go on and play Texas Tech in a Big 12 championship, or if not, a third or fourth place spot.
You're going to be battling for the Big
Yeah,
12 championship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your fate's going to be in your hands, essentially.
Yeah. Well, Garrett, I guess to finalize everything off, do you have a prediction for the game?
I'm gonna go with either like a
No, no, either you can't cop out.
no no no
Stick to your guns.
it's gonna be like a 31-28 or 24-27 win. But I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling. I do feel good. I do feel good. I I think Auburn's defense is going to be tough, and that's what I'm expecting. So I'm going to go with probably like a 24-27 Auburn victory.
All right. This ends episode 2. Thanks everybody for listening. And once again, don't get hard counted.